All right, over on track one, that's called a Little Man's Dream. Derek Cooper, he's out of Scottsville, Kentucky. He'll be our test hook tonight over on track one. Been back wandering about in the pits. We've got a lot of tractors down here for the first time it's ever been to Lawrenceburg this year. It's going to be don't know what they're going to bring in here. And we will be running the 2050 minis a little bit later on in the night. Once we get a couple of classes under our belt out on track 1 and 2, we will be bringing those in. Y'all will see them coming in. Again, tonight, a lot of these units are very, very loud. If you have little ones and do not have hearing protection, be sure and cover their ears. It's awfully loud under these grandstands. You're going to know. But I thought I'd go ahead and warn you, if you got little ones, cover their ears up. And some of our vendors out here are probably selling either earplugs or something along the line, some types of protection for them. So they want to think about that as well.
They're just about ready on the truck side, but they're having a little radio trouble with the laser man. We're getting him hooked up. Once we get him talking to us, we'll be set to go on the trucks. Laser man says he's ready.
All right, looks like we're kicking off over on track number 1. All right, here we go on track 1.
Whitley had a good pull, had a little bit of hop on the front end of it, but it hooked up and he got a good pass on it. Looking for advice from the track if he's going to take that pull. .270.95 the pull. 270.956 the pull. Okay, two of you talking at once. Next puller on track number 2 is going to be Thomas Cottrell out of Loretto. He's pulling the truck he calls Code Blue. This is a good one, folks.
All right, here's the information I have over on track 1. Little Man's Dream, Derek Cooper, he took his pull at 297.81, so we are underway. 297.81 for the Little Man's Dream. Next up, Tony, Alabama's going to be Eli Wallace, calls his tractor Daydreaming.
Pull off tractor, please. Pull off tractor. Understand it, Lee Whitley has elected to drop. He can do that as a test puller, so he'll be coming back later in the class. Next puller on the sled number 2 will be Thomas Cottrell and Code Blue.
All right, looks like we're having a little trouble with the Daydreaming. Hey, y'all, this is the first pull of the year, so they're dragging Eli off. I don't know. He may be dropping and coming back. He is dropping the last, they tell me. So that's going to bring in Adam Wright on the Dark Fired Express out of Lawrenceburg, Kentucky.
312 and 68 to pull. That's going to bring up Dylan Springer out of Lexington, Alabama, and a truck he calls Fireman's Express.
All right, here's your distance. Express over on track 1, 312.81, 312.81. Good hook right there. That's going to bring in the Family Tradition Farm All, Richard Taylor. He's out of Scottsville, Kentucky. All right, Dylan Springer lining up on sled number 2. He calls this truck Fireman's Express. Oh, check out the red lights on the top for sure. He'd put a siren on it, but you wouldn't be able to hear it for the exhaust. That old boy in the red shirt gets along pretty good, don't he? Here's a hug in that line. First time I've seen this tractor, probably most of y'all too.
Pretty pass right there.
All right, here we go on the track. Uh-oh.
Give it 302.54 the pull for Jamie Kincaid. 302 and 54. That's going to bring up Wink Glover and Totally Confused. Wink pulling out of 5 Points, Tennessee.
We'll give Bob over there a hand on that farm, y'all. It is the first pull of the season. A lot of them haven't pulled in a good long while, so they're trying to figure out what they got right here. That's going to bring in Kyler Hill, Florence, Alabama. He's called his tractor the High Dollar Deer.
Next up on the middle track will be Wink Glover on Totally Confused.
Officially on that farm, y'all, 450, 32.01, 32.01. Hey, get points for all that kills. Kyler Hill, High Dollar Deer. May have got a little aggressive in his gear selection there, Bill.
Yes, sir. I bet he's wishing he was one notch lower.
Yeah,
sure.
third would have probably been a little bit better than fourth right there, but hey, he got tomorrow night to come back and make up for it. Give him a hand. All right, that's going to bring in the grain train. Nick Harrell out of Morrison, Tennessee up next. Good pull there on your track, Bill. Hey, the distance for the High Dollar Deer, 289.10. 289.10 for the High Dollar Deer.
Distance for Winston Glover and Totally Confused, 310.26, 310 and 26. The pull for Winston Glover and Totally Confused. That's going to bring up Al Durant's out of Glenville. Where am I at here? Colonel, my eyesight's going. He's out of Glenville, Georgia, pulling a truck called Mr. Sparkle. I think he's trying to make them last the whole season.
All right, here's your distance for the grain train. 307.12, 307.12. That's going to bring in a tractor from just down the road in Florence, Alabama. Constant Sorrow, Evan McDaniel.
Mr. Sparkle coming to us all the way out of Glenville, Georgia.
Bill, this evening I was out roaming around in the pits. I talked to some folks from Minnesota. I talked to some folks from Pennsylvania.
Distance for Al Durance and Mr. Sparkle is 307 and 55. 307 and 55, the distance for Al Durance and Mr. Sparkle. That's going to bring up Wesley Lusk out of Altamont, Tennessee, and the Instigator. Looks like we're getting a little tag team action on the rollers. They tell us that Dynapack roller, that's all it's got. Understand that the high-low switch is not working, so it's sitting there in low, and he's going as fast as he can go.
Here we go, the Constant Sorrow. Pretty pass. Good pass for the Constant Sorrow tractor. 311.15. 311.15. That looks like that's going to move him up into second place right now. We still got some tractors to go. Next up out of Readyville, Tennessee, the Ghost Rider, Bruce Baird.
And here comes Wesley Lusk and the Instigator. Distance for Wesley Lusk and the instigator 76, 304 and 76 the pull. Next up out of Claxton, Georgia is Mr. Lee Burkhalter. He's pulling on a truck he calls Buck Wild. Lee Burkhalter will be up next on the tractor side, pulling a truck he calls Buck Wild.
All right, here's the distance on the Ghost Rider, 291.37, 291.37. That's going to bring in the Guesswork 2, Caleb Cook out of Mount Hermon, Tennessee. And then we'll be moving on to the Super Farm tractors.
All right, Lee Burkhalter and Buck Wild. He's got a green track. We'll have a distance for Buck Wild here in just a second. .304.21 the pull. 304.21 the pull for Lee Burkhalter and Buck Wild. That's going to bring up a truck they call Midnight Oil. Andrew Powell will be the driver. He's pulling out of Crossville, Tennessee. Midnight Oil, you're next.
All right, right, this tractor's called Guesswork 2. Caleb Cook, Mount Hermon, Tennessee.
We've got 2 pullers left in the truck class, plus the first puller, Lee Whitley, is going to be coming back, so 3 more pulls to go. Andrew Powell is the next puller. And then Gary Willingham, and then Lee Whitley will be coming back.
All right, here's the distance for the Guesswork tractor, 273.94, 273.94 for Guesswork 2. The last puller in the class going to be Eli Wallace on Daydreaming. He's out of Tony, Alabama.
Using a torque wrench on them front wheels. All right, pullers out of Crossville, Tennessee. Andrew Powell at Midnight Oil getting hooked up, set to go.
Track 1. Oh, looks like we're on track 2 first.
Oh, nice looking pull.
We'll give Eli a hand over on track number 1 on the Daydreaming. Hey, it is early in the season, and everybody's still trying to figure out what they got. I'll have you order finish here in just a second.
304.93 the pull for Andrew Powell. 304 and 93 the pull for Andrew Powell out of Crossville, Tennessee. Boy, we got a bunch of them out there with that 304 number, that's for sure. All right. Next puller in the class is going to be Gary Willingham. He's pulling out of Crossville on a truck he calls Farmer Strong. Gary Willingham up next. Lee Whitley, you'll be coming back for your repull.
All right, here's your top four in limited light. Fourth place. Let me find it. With a distance of 298.79 is going to the Family Tradition. Third place is going to the Grain Train, Nick Harrell out of Morrison, Tennessee. Second place, Constant Sorrow out of Florence, Alabama, Evan McDaniels, 311.15. And your winner, Dark Fired Express, Adam Wright out of Lewisburg, Kentucky, 312.81. That's going to bring in the Super Farm Tractors. Got a good group of them right here. Case of the Reds out of Hammond, Louisiana. Green Fever, Financial Mistake, Brothers Keeper, Bare Bones Binder, Raging Mule, the Moonshiner, Ridge Runner, High End Harvester, and Foghorn Leghorn rounding out the class.
All right, bad news for Gary Willingham. He lost a weight cover during the track, and that is going to be a disqualification. Anytime a truck or a tractor loses parts during a pull, that is an automatic disqualification. So no time for Gary Willingham.
All right, over on track number one, we are moving into the 9,300-pound Super Farm tractors. Got some different colors in the class, a lot of red, a lot of green in the Super Farm class. These tractors are running 3-inch turbochargers. And it's a real competitive class, let me tell you. If y'all hadn't ever seen them, you in for a treat. If you have seen them, you know what I'm talking about. First up, out of Hammond, Louisiana, I tell you what, they had a good pull down there back in March. Case of the Reds, Charlie Cialino.
All right, Lee Whitley's going to be coming back. He was our test puller, did elect to drop, so he'll be coming back on high voltage, and that's going to finish up our Pro Stock 4-wheel drive class. So one puller left.
Right there.
Okay, Lee Whitley out of 5 points, pulling back in.
Track 1 for Charlie Cialino, 284.32. 284.32. That's going to bring in Green Fever. Russ Vandergriff, he's out of Smithville, Tennessee.
All right, distance for Lee Whitley, 296.89. 296 and 89, the pull for Lee Whitley. That's going to conclude our Pro Stock 4-wheel drive class. I'll have your order finish here in just a second. All right, here's your top 4 positions on the Pro Stock 4-wheel drive class. In 4th place with a pull of 304 and 93 is Andrew Powell out of Crossville, Tennessee, pulling Midnight Oil, 304 and 93 the pull. 3rd place went to Al Durant's out of Glenville, Georgia on Mr. Sparkle, 307 and 55, 307 and 55. That's good for 3rd place. 2nd place goes to Winston Glover out of 5 Points, Tennessee, pulling Totally Confused, 310 and 26, 312 and 68, 312 and 68, and that's your Pro Stock 4-wheel drive class for this evening.
Woo, talk about walking the dog over on track 1. That's Green Fever. How far did that Green Fever go? 332.79, 332 and 79. That's going to bring in a tractor right here. Oliver, about the only one you're going to see out here on the track tonight. Financial Mistake, going to be Miss Marianne Kerr behind the wheel.
Ooh, how about that? That's the first pull in the super modified four-wheel drive. And that pull was 315.12. Puller was Shane Greer out of Benton, Kentucky. 315.12 the pull. Shane Greer and Super Chevy. And one puller left in that class is going to be Chris Jennings on a truck he calls non-hiring. This is a super modified four-wheel drive class. And understand that Shane Greer is going to take that pull, so we're official. Here we go, one puller left. Pro Stock Diesel Truck class, you'll be up next.
All right, on track one, a financial mistake. All right, over on track one, the distance for the financial mistake, 318.11, 318.11. That's going to bring in the Brothers Keeper. They're out of Liberty, Kentucky, Tim Morris.
All right, Chris Jennings hooking up, so getting set to go. Truck he calls now hiring.
Hey, Bill, if you hadn't heard, I've started me a new business.
A new business?
Sure enough, I'm breeding racing deer.
What is a racing deer?
Oh, actually, I'm just trying to make a quick buck.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, that answers the question. The Super Farm tractor is a little damn quicker than a super modified four-wheel drive truck.
Yeah, but All right, distance for Chris Jennings and now Herring is 294.94, 294 and 94. And that means that your winner in the class is going to be Shane Greer with his pull of 315 and 12. First puller, Shane Greer, will be your winner. And now Herring and Chris Jennings will be second place.
Over on track 1, 3.42, 333 and 42. Woo, they stretching them out tonight. That's going to bring in a local tractor right here out of Lawrenceburg, Cranford Jennings on the Bare Bones Binder.
We would like to thank our sponsors, Shell Quickmart, H&R AgriPower, Farm Credit Mid-America Crop Insurance, Southeast Grain Management, T&R Roofing, Agri-Max Seed, Car Country, Bad Gear LLC, Title Grove Agri-Science, JCB, United Rentals, and Chapman Tire. We'd also like to thank Cropland, Dixie Dino and Engine, Dixon and Son Tractor Repair, Doss Brothers, Eagleville Implement, Elliott and Associates Insurance, Heine's Barbecue, Farm Bureau of Lawrence County, Heritage Bank, First Farmers Bank, Gowan Wholesale, Heritage Automotive, Jeffrey Dykes, and Nakia McFall.
Our sponsors include Ag Direct, Organics Mid-South, Armor Seed, Bare Bones Meats, Lawrence County Chamber of Commerce, Baker Equipment, BASF, Bayer Crop Science, Beck Seed, Brown Equipment, Campbell's Used Parts, Christensen Transportation Incorporated, Cortiva, Counts Farms, and Jennings Farms. Sponsors tonight include Little Gold Mine, McDaniel Machine, Murphy Crop and Livestock Insurance, Rent Right, Stryker's Steakhouse, Summertown Metals, Tennessee Landwork, Thompson's Cat, Tri-Cities Truck Parts, Tri-Green, Titan Colonel, I know you got a distance coming in. I think you got a couple more sponsors to hit, but tell you what, we appreciate all of our sponsors making this show possible tonight. Putting on one of these things with all of the equipment involved, all of the sleds, up the track prep, everything. These things are expensive to do, and without the sponsorships that you're hearing about here, it would be kind of touch and go whether or not we will be able to put this thing on. So we certainly appreciate have an opportunity to do a little business with them. They would appreciate it, and so would we.
Yeah, Bill, that is a fact short of. Hey, here's your distance for Cranford Jennings, 323.18, 323.18. We would also like to thank folks at Werewolf Parts True Grit brand. They have come on board as sponsors, and we'd like to thank Tri-Green Equipment, H&R AgriPower, and Brown Equipment down in Loretta, Tennessee. They have loaned us this equipment we're using out here this weekend to build our tracks and work our tracks, and we appreciate all of them. We'd also like to thank folks at Counts Farms. They have provided a lot of the equipment out here as well this weekend.
Folks, on track number 2, the next class up is going to be the Pure Stock or the Pro Stock Diesel Trucks. This is always a fun class to watch. As you can see, they're putting a little bit of weight in the sled, getting it set to go. These Pro Stock Diesel trucks, they're strong for sure, and they are a lot of fun. Here we go. First puller is going to be Kevin Douthit on a truck he calls Red, White, and Blue, followed by Joey Frank out of Bells, Tennessee, and Chump Change. Then Jay Douthit out of Pulaski and Wagon Wheel. Ariane Thornhill out of Hammond, Louisiana. Oh, all the way up from Louisiana, an unpredictable attitude. Hunter Armistead out of Lawrenceburg, Tennessee, and Dixie Ramp. William Kaufman out of Iron City on Hooking for a Cure. Dimitri Straticus out of Metairie, Louisiana, and Midnight Smoke. And Nick, hey, it's easy for me to say, Colonel. How do you pronounce that? Straticus. Straticus, okay. All right. We're going to go with that. Nika Straticus out of Metairie and the Bandit. And we folks appreciate you folks coming up all the way out of Louisiana. Metairie just outside of New Orleans. That's a pretty long haul, my friend.
All right, over on track number 1, this is the Raging Mule, Brad England. He's out of Madisonville, Kentucky.
Here we go, Kevin down in red flag.
Track 328.73, 328.73 for the Raging Mule. That's going to bring in the Moonshiner, Weston Hines, out of Mount Juliet, Tennessee. The Moonshiner.
All right, Kevin Douthit going to try it again. Much more better.
I don't know what he done, but he worked a little better, didn't he?
Yes, sir. We'll see if he's going to take that full. That was a clean run. Pull him up a little bit short. We'll see if he's going to take it. But he got a nice clean run on it.
They did just put weights in that second.
Yes, they did. This is recorded as 268.66, 268.66, and we're looking to see if he's going to take it or drop it. All right, next puller coming in is Joey Frank out of Bells, Tennessee. That's over in West Tennessee. Chump change is what he calls this truck. Boy, if he's putting out that much smoke while he's idling, think of what's going to happen when he puts the throttle in.
Tell me that's the first time that man driving has pulled, so not too bad, not too shabby.
Yeah, I thought at first it had a little too much gear in it, but it worked out okay. Nice looking pull. Here comes Joey Frank.
Track one, that's the Ridge Runner. That's what he made. 328.31, 328.31 for the Ridge Runner. That's going to bring in the high-end harvester. Chris Hawkins, he's out of Wartrace, Tennessee. Be followed by the Foghorn Leghorn tractor.
Attention on the track, they're looking for the chalk box. If you've got it in your pocket, they need it. Track number 1. They found it.
Yeah, them lines do tend to get a little washed out over time.
Jay Douthit, wagon wheel, here we go. All right, that truck is called Dynamite Diesel, and it's Oscar, and I'm trying to get the last name, but anyhow, this is Oscar. It's Oscar Collins. There you go. What a heck of a pull. Colonel almost said one hell of a pull, but I'm glad I didn't say that. Listen to this, fans. 331.46. 331.46. How about that?
All right, this is the high-end harvester. Good pull. All right, over on track 1, Foghorn Leghorn.
South end, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's got to disintegrate. Hey, here's your distance for the Foghorn Leghorn tractor, 249.43, 249.43, and that will be the last puller in the class, so I'll have you order a finish here in just a second.
We'll have the distance for Jay Douthit here in just a second. Ariane Thornhill out of Hammond, Louisiana will be next. She's pulling a truck called Unpredictable Attitude. Distance for Jay Douthit is 311.76, 311 and 76 the pull for Jay Douthit and Wagon Wheel. Unpredictable Attitude and Ariane Thornhill out of Hammond, Louisiana. You're up next. Colonel, I see some lights down there on that mini rod sled. Folks, you see what I said about a V8, a driver, and a lawnmower? There you go. Take a look at these things coming in here. Those guys are crazy.
All right, here's the way I got her shaking out. Fourth place going to the Ridge Runner with a distance of 3:28 and 31. Third place is going to the Raging Mule, 3:28.73. Just edged him out. Second place is going to Green Fever, 3:32.79. And your winner, Tim Morris on the Brothers Keeper out of Liberty, Kentucky, 3:33.42. And that is our Super Farm class. Again, and next up will be the light super stock tractors, lightweight supers. Extremely Insane, Larry Phillips out of Iron Grove, Kentucky, followed by Blue Blazes, JR. Insanity, Evening Thunder, Blue Devil 2XL, Cujo, and Airborne.
Ariane Thornhill backing into position on sled number 2. Unpredictable Attitude, they call it.
Woo, look at here. Tractor's called Extremely Insane. Now, you're going to see some smoke. You're going to see some not smoke. This class is open to alcohol or diesel. Gonna see some of both. Mostly alcohol.
All right, I got a green track on track number 2. Here we go with the trucks. All right, remember her pit crew, I'm going to say that's either a dad or a husband telling her, put your foot in it. Put your foot on it. That's about the time she took her foot out of it. Back her up there, try it again.
All right, here we go with the light super. And they do not mess around. Extremely insane, Larry Phillips. Vine Grove, Kentucky, right there.
Okay, here comes Ariane. That was a sweet pass right there. Distance for Ariane 298.63. 298.63. The distance for Ariane 38. That's going to bring out Hunter Armistead in the Dixie Ram out of Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. The Dixie Ram been around a long time, been around as a Dixie Ram for about 3 or 4 years. And Hunter's wife Caroline usually drives that truck. I think she's going to pull it tomorrow night. But this is a good truck right here. It has run in Louisville, actually won Louisville a couple of years ago. So it's something.
All right, over on track 1, extremely insane. They tell me he's going to keep his hook. I do not blame him. 342.96. 342.96. They stretching that track out over there. Hey, that's going to bring in a tractor a lot of y'all have seen over the years called Blue Blazes. Mike White out of Cox's Creek, Kentucky.
All right, here's something that you don't see every day. They say that the Ram has got no reverse. So if he can't go to the sled's going to come to him. All right, they're going to pull Hunter back now. All right, right, now we got everything staged up.
Don't go backwards, so you go forward pretty good, though.
Yeah, we don't need no stinking reverse. .37 the pull, 307 and 37 the pull for Hunter Armistead in the Dixie Ram. That's going to bring up William Kaufman he's out.
He went out. Took the senior crowd straight up. Of course, pulled hard to the right there, right? Shook him up a little, looks like, maybe. That head was rattling in that cage.
That was a wild ride right there.
He did get out the line, so that's going to be a disqualification, but pretty good pull there other than that. That's going to bring in a tractor called JR out of Florence, Alabama. Evan McDaniel will be up next.
Except for that, Ms. Lincoln, how'd you like the show?
Yeah.
Next puller on the truck side is going to be William Kaufman out of Iron City. Calls this truck hooking for a cure.
Well, y'all having a good time here tonight. Hey, they just going to get bigger and badder as we go through the night, just heavier and as we go. Plus, we still got the mini rods will be kicking off here shortly. And you know what's even better, Bill?
I give up.
We're going to be back here doing this again tomorrow night.
All right.
If you don't get enough tonight, you'll have a second swing at the ball. Hey, y'all be sure to go home and tell your friends what a good time you had here tonight. We'd love to see you again and all you folks you know.
That little old pink truck did real well. We'll have the distance here for you in just a second. .311.21 the pull. 311.21 the pull for William Kaufman. Next puller is going to be Midnight Smoke and Demetrius Straticus out of Metairie, Louisiana.
All right, we got Evan McDaniel driving JR over there tonight. Tractor's been down the track here at Lawrenceburg many, many times over the years. Matter of fact, I was talking to Leon Haney this evening back there. He told me first time he pulled Lawrenceburg, Davy Crockett was a flag man.
Okay, this is Demetrius Straticus out of Metairie, Louisiana. Hooking up. Midnight Smoke is what he calls this truck.
Getting under it, blower just a little bit, but not a bad pull. All right, and the distance for JR, 258.07, 258.07. That's going to bring in a tractor called Insanity out of Vine Grove, Kentucky, Brandon Phillips.
definitely left a trail behind him. $309.81 the pull. $309.81 the pull for Demetrius Straticus. Last puller in the class will be Nico Straticus, also out of Metairie, pulling a truck he calls the Bandit. One puller left in the class.
Again, tonight's event is sanctioned by the IHRA Pro Pulling League Mid-South Pullers. This is the first points pull in the circuit this year. A lot of pulling to go. Hey, get on Facebook with Mid-South Pullers. You can look in and keep up with what's going on and where. Next week, you'll be down at the Walker Ranch in Florence, Alabama.
Okay, over here on the truck sled, last puller in the class hooking up, Nico Straticus out of Metairie, Louisiana.
All right, good pull over on track 1, 335.30, 335.30. That's going to bring in a tractor that's been here in Lawrenceburg several many times over the years. Evening Thunder, Kevin Essery. He's out of Milledgeville, Tennessee.
I don't know what he's got in that weight. It might be a beer cooler for all I know. Track's green on the truck side. Here we go. We'll have the distance for you just as soon as the smoke clears. $308.02, 308.02, the distance for Nick Straticus. I'll have your order finish here in just a second. All right, here's your order of finish. Top 4 in the Pro Stock Diesel Trucks. 4th place went to the Metairie, Louisiana driver, Dimitri Statikas. Midnight Smoke, the truck. The distance 3:09 and 81. 3:09 and 81, good for a 4th place. 3rd place in and second place goes to Jim Douthit out of Pulaski with the distance 3:11 and 76. 3:11 and 76, good for second place for Dave Douthit in Wagon Wheel. And your winner from parts unknown is Oscar Collins in the Dynamite Diesel. Distance of 3:31 and 46. 3:31 and 46, that's good for the win. The Dynamite Diesel and Oscar Collins taking the win.
All right, here's the distance for the Evening Thunder tractor, 298.53, 298.53.
All right, we're going mini riding here in just a bit.
Yeah, they got to get the sled set up, and we will turn them little old things loose. I tell you what, if you've never seen them, you're in for a treat. If you have seen them, you know what's coming up. Coming in over
a lot of sponsors that are sponsoring the Pro Pulling League, and one of them is Diesel Extreme. Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is the official fuel additive of the Pro Pulling League and is the strongest diesel injector cleaner on the market. Trusted by thousands, Diesel Extreme is a complete 6-in-1 fuel additive that cleans and protects your injectors while boosting your fuel's octane by 7 points to give you that extra horsepower, torque, and fuel economy. That's all we want, a top quality product with proven results. Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme cleans, protects, and brings your diesel engine back to life. Available nationwide at O'Reilly Auto Parts, Advance Auto Parts, AutoZone, and Walmart, Amazon, and online at www.hotshotsecrets.com.
All right, over on track number 1, this is the Blue Devil 2 XL. Kevin Van Slyke, he's in out of Chapel Hill, Tennessee, just up the road a little ways. If I'm not mistaken, no, we've had a couple of blue tractors already in here tonight. Don't see a lot of blue out on the track much anymore. Used to see a lot more. Now, he has not hit the 100-foot mark yet, so he does get the opportunity to back up and go again if he thinks everything's under control. Just wants to take another bite at it.
All right, looks like we're going to run some two-wheel drive trucks here before we get to the mini rods, so a little bait and switch, but that's all right. First up on the two-wheel drive is Mark Ford out of Woodbury, Tennessee, and a truck he calls Trimmer. Once we get a little quiet, I'll tell you the rest of them. This is Mark Ford out of Woodbury and Trimmer. Got Altamont and Kryptonite, Keith Sladen out of Clinton and American Made, Danny Lusk out of Altamont and Wild Child, Danny Newman out of Athens and The Untouchable, TJ Wallace out of Lester, Alabama and Strutton, Brad Farrell in Mulberry and Old School.
Need tow tractor on track 1, please. Tow tractor, track number 1.
Mulberry, then Ethan Fraser. We'll get him there in a minute. Wow. Woo. How about that? Now, we got a couple of things to figure out. Number one, they're going to take that bull. Number two, they're going to leave the sled set like they got him. And that could go either way. Measured distance is 334.10, 334 and 10. And we're checking to see if he's going to take that pull. I would. We're also going to check to see if they're going to reset the sled. All right, 3, 3, 4, and 10 the pull for Mark Ford.
All right, next up over on track number 1 going to be Cujo Clay Haney. He's out of Athens, Alabama, another tractor that's familiar here in Lawrenceburg.
I think they're going to try another one to see what we've got on track 2. They're still talking about it. Trimmer is a stout truck, so they're trying to decide if they're going to keep it. And I think they're going to leave the sled set as is for right now. We'll look at another one and then make a call after that.
Oh, look like we're getting a mini. rod sled out now.
This is Wesley Lusk out of Altamont getting hooked up. Kryptonite, he calls that two-wheel drive buddy. All right, here we go.
All right, distance for Cujo 314.11, 314.11. That's going to bring in the last tractor in the class. The tractor's called Airborne. Cole Forster, he's out of Huntsville, Alabama.
.307 and 47 to pull for Wesley Lusk. 307 and 47 to pull for Kryptonite. That's going to bring up Keith Slayton out of Clinton, Kentucky, pulling a truck he calls American Made.
All right, just got word on that Blue Devil tractor. His distance officially was 58.67. He did break and will not be back. So this will be our last puller in the class, Airborne, Cole Forster. Then we're going to the limited pro stock diesel tractors. If I remember right, this tractor got in here, played with us 3 or 4 years ago, originally up in Pennsylvania, and has fairly lately moved down to Huntsville, Alabama. Glad they're with us here tonight.
All right, they're loading up Keith Slayton over here on track number 2.
All right, green flags over on track 1. Last pull of the class, Airborne. Oh, I hate it when that happens. They check and make sure there ain't nothing on fire under there is what they're looking at. All right, give him a big hand. Distance of 102.02 for the airborne tractor. He did get past the 100-foot mark for whatever happened, and it didn't sound cheap, whatever it was.
Sounded like it was more than an oil plug.
Yeah, bless his heart. All right, that's going to bring in the Pro Stock diesel tractors, limited Pro Stock. I'll have you order finish here on the light supers here in just a second. If you, they need these scraper tractors and all moved over here on track number 3. If you've got something sitting down here at the end of the track, they need you to move it. We fix to start turning some mini rods loose.
All right, word from the track. The mini rods are next. Here we go. Clear that track. Colonel, I'm going to sit back and watch this and let you call it or not. I see you're busy.
That's the wrong one. Where is it? All right, this will be your order pull over here on the mini rods. First up, Brad Farrell out of Mulberry, Tennessee, pulling a tractor called an Underdog. Then he'll be followed by Playing Dirty, Dirt Cheap, Straight and Up, Headhunter, Burning Money, Wild Horses, Scrap Iron, Totally Floored 2, Doc, and Freak on a Leash. Hey, we got a good group of them. Let me give you the order finish here on these light supers before it gets much louder. 4th place, Evening Thunder, 298 and 53. 3rd place, Cujo, 314.11. 2nd place, Insanity, 335.30. And your winner, Extremely Insane, 342.96. All right, 283.17, 283.17. Hey, over on track 1, we are lining up a limited pro. First in, 50 Shades of Green, Dylan Barnett out of Lafayette, Kentucky, followed by limited edition, Dixie Deer, special edition, Tennessee Red, Hillbilly Moonshiner, Precision Pro, Never Satisfied, Plow Tractor 4.1, Double Vision, Deer Hunter 4.1, and the Bad Habit. Good group of limited pro stock tractors right here. They weigh 9,500 pounds. All right, here's your distance on 50 Shades of Green, 306.31, 306.31. All right, I'm told over here on the minis, we're going to make a little sled adjustment right here and start over. So Brad Farrell on the underdog will be dropping the last and coming back. So that's going to bring up Playing Dirty, Brandon Hill out of Gibson, Tennessee. All right, next up over on track 1 from Worthington, Minnesota. Now, there's one we don't call out real often, Mike Bonasuma. Limited edition. Glad they drove down and come to play with us this weekend. I guess they had to get up for breakfast to get down here.
Hooking up on track number 2, Wild Child, drove by Danny Lutz from Altamont, Tennessee. In the orange Tennessee Wild Child.
All right, over on track 1, that's Mike Balsama from Worthington, Minnesota. Calls his tractor limited edition. I tell you what, these tractors have come a long way down here in Minnesota. Come down from Minnesota to play. good pull for the limited edition John Deere there. 317.72. 317.72. That's going to bring in another green tractor from right here in Lawrenceburg. Dixie Deere. $282.19 for the playing dirty. Find out if he's going to keep her drop. Good hook for the Dixie Deere. Good hook over on track 1, 340.10. 340.10. That's going to bring in another one of them Minnesota tractors called a Special Edition Steve Bushma from Worthington, Minnesota. I just got word over here on the minis. He did take his hook, 282.19, so we are underway on the mini rods. That's going to bring up Dirt Cheap Steve Wallace. He's out of Athens, Alabama. Will be our next contestant over here on track number 3.
324.56 for Daryl Norman in the Untouchable on track 2. That's going to bring up TJ Wallace in Strutton from Leicester, Alabama. Coming up next on track number 2.
Over here on track 3 again, this is Dirt Cheap Steve Wallace down the road in Athens. Tell you what, these little old minis, they put on a show now. How about that? He's playing. $314.26, $314.26 for the Dirt Cheap Mini Rod. That's going to bring straight and up Dale Rumpke. He's out of Ocala, Florida. How about that? That's special edition. All right, good hook for the special edition. 331.43, 331.43. That's going to bring in Tennessee Red. Jared Bradley out of Elora, Tennessee, being next. And over here on track 3 will be straight and up Dale Rumpke.
Track number 2 have TJ Wallace in Strutton from Leicester, Alabama. On track number 2.
Cockay down there trying to get that mini crank, but next up will be straight and up.
$294.94, the time for TJ Wallace in Strutton. That'll bring up Brad Farrell in Old School from Mulberry, Tennessee, coming to track number 2.
I was talking to Dale out here a little earlier. He had just recently purchased this unit right here, so he brought her up here to Lawrenceburg to see what's going on with it. It was kind of in the area, so figured, what the heck, we'll just go hook it Lawrenceburg, and we're sure glad he did. Again, over on track 1, that's Jared Bradley. He was one of the first to hop into the limited pro stock class back several years ago. It's really built into a good class. Calls his tractor Tennessee Red. How about that? Just edged out that tractor in front of him. 314.91. 314.91 for straight and up. See, maybe we'll get word here in a minute what's going on over on track 1. Yeah. And y'all, I can see something y'all can't, and that's the speedometer on that thing. He's running nearly 30 mile an hour as he went down through there on that mini rod. Hey, that's going to bring up the headhunter, Joe Armstrong. He's out of Petersburg, Tennessee. All right, looks like Jared's ready to go again. I think he may have a little trouble right there he's not aware of. I see some fluids flowing. My old tractors leave a puddle everywhere we go, but these right here ain't supposed to do that. All right, to tell me Jared's going to drop the lash, so we'll bring him back in. That's going to bring up the Hillbilly Moonshiner, Brad Foster. Need a tow tractor on track 1. Need a tow tractor, please. That's going to bring in the Hillbilly Moonshiner over on track 1, Brad Foster. Joe Armstrong, you're up next over here on track 3.
We got Brad Farrell from Mulberry, Tennessee, coming into track number 2. In his truck he calls Old School. All right, they did a little bit of track maintenance over there.
Joe Armstrong on the Headhunter. I guess you'll be up next over here on track 3 on the minis. All right, we're getting reconfigured right here. That's a Hillbilly Moonshiner coming in over on track 1. And we'll have a mini. We're trying to stay safe and not get too much going on out there. So that's it. Our track officials can only do up one thing at a time. And the man there on track 2, he's got a, he was our first hook in the mini rods, and he's got to come back. So he needs to get on with it and jump around and come back again directly. Track 1, that was the Hillbilly Moonshiner. He was kind of taking the scenic route down through there. All right, your distance for the Hillbilly Moonshiner, 264.20, 264.20. And I hear that Headhunter coming in. Be Joe Armstrong over here on track 3. Need a tow tractor, please. Tow tractor on track 1, please. Tow tractor, track 1. All right, here we go. All right, 295.09, 295.09 for the Headhunter. That's going to bring up burning money, Jimmy Cook out of Franklin, Kentucky. He'll be next up on track number 3. Over on track number 1, we're looking for the Precision Pro, Dustin Whitaker. He's out of Woodville, Alabama.
On track number 2, got crosswired backing up. That's Ethan Foster from McMinnville, Tennessee, on track number 2. Good pull for Ethan Foster in crosswire. .54, 324.54 for Ethan Foster in crosswire. That'll bring up Papa Bear, Larry Douthit from Pulaski, Tennessee, on track number 2.
All right, coming in on track 1, that's tractor's called a Precision Pro, Dustin Whitaker, Woodville, Alabama. Good-looking tractor, good strong-running tractor. We've got about a half a dozen or more left in this class over on track 1. Got about that many rods left. So we ain't nowhere near done yet. What a pretty pass. How about that? Well, we have a new leader over here right now. 340.56. 340.56. Just edged out that first man by a little bit. But hey, we still got some good tractors left to go. Coming up next out of Hollywood, Alabama, Larry Dean on a tractor called Never Satisfied.
.56, 310.56 for Larry Douthit and Papa Bear. That'll bring up Mike Rigby from Eagleville, Tennessee on Thunder Road. Coming to track number 2, Mike Rigby in Thunder Road.
All right, lining up over here on track 3. Burning Money, Jimmy Cook, Franklin, Kentucky. All right, looks like a mini rod's up next. Again, that's going to be Burning Money. All right, over here on track 3, Burning Money, 317.01, 317.01. Looks like puts him out front right now. And over on track 1, Larry Dean's distance, 320.06, 320.06. That's going to bring in another Lawrenceburg tractor over on track 1, the Plow Tractor 4.1. Tonight behind the wheel going to be Dakota Richardson. And over here on track 3, Wild Horses, Steve Aaron out of Trenton, Tennessee will be up next.
Wire from Woodbury, Tennessee, coming to track number 2.
All right, over here on track 3, we're going to have wild horses. Steve Hayden out of Trenton, Tennessee. On track number 1, hooking up right now, is going to be the plow tractor 4.1, Dakota Richardson. .53, 305.53 for the Wild Horses. All right, here's the distance on the plow tractor, 312.21, 312.21. That's going to bring in double vision. Nathan Brown out of Morrison, Tennessee. Over here on track 3, we're looking for David Sneed. Be driving scrap iron.
On track 2, got your last two-wheel drive truck tonight, Wesley Foster from Woodbury, Tennessee, in the trucking call. .16 be the time for Wesley, or the distance for Wesley Foster in barbed wire. And that'll finish out our two-wheel drive class tonight. Bringing up your places tonight, fourth place with a 3:24.54. Beat Crosswired Ethan Foster from Minville, Tennessee. Third place, 3:24.56. Daryl Norman in the Untouchable from Athens, Alabama. Second, beat 3:31.26. American made Keith Slayton from Clinton, Kentucky. And first place with a 3:34.10, heading to Mark Ford in Trimmer from Woodbury, Tennessee.
He was a getting it. How far did he go? 3:21.24. 3:21.24. They stretching this track out now. That's going to bring in totally floored 2, John Williams out of Auburn, Kentucky. Over on track 1, we're looking for Nathan Brown on double vision. Vision Alice, 338.73, 338.73 over here on track 3, totally floored 2. How far did he go? 301.98, 301.98. All right, over on track 1, that's going to bring up a deer hunter, 4.1, Ethan Weston. He's out of Mount Juliet, Tennessee. Over here on track 3, he's going to bring in Doc Nick Hayes from Estill Springs, Tennessee. Deer Hunter 4.1. We'll get this here in just a second. All right, here we go. Over on track number 1, the distance for the Deer Hunter, 4.1, 330.85, 330.85. Over here on track number 3 for Doc, 330.90, 330.90, just about the same distance. All right, that's going to bring up Bad Habit, Michael Fanning out of Estill Springs, Tennessee, over on track 1. And then Jared Bradley will be our last putter over here on track number 3. Coming in next will be Freak on a Leash, Dusty Alford out of Macomb, Mississippi, and he'll be followed by Brad Farrell on the Underdog.
If you have not got enough pulling action in tonight, don't forget we will be right back here tomorrow night. Same place, same time, 6:30 for our second night of the Rumble at the Crossroads.
And the board up there ain't working, so.
All right, here's your distances for the bad habit. 337.25. 337.25 over here on track 3. How far did Alfred go on that freak on the leash? 332.02. 332.02. Got one left in each class. Over on track 1, we got Jared Bradley on Tennessee Red. And over here on track 3, we got Brad Farrell on the Underdog. We right here with the last two hooks. Are y'all having fun? Have you enjoyed tonight's show? Make a little noise. I have loved it, man. This has been one of the best pulls I've been to in a long time right here in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. And like Kane just said a minute ago, we're going to come back and do it again tomorrow night. And we hope to see each and every one of you, and I hope you bring 2 or 3 folks with you. Tell them what a good time you had. Bradley on that Tennessee Red. All right, good hook for Tennessee Red. 331.10. 331.10. I'll have your order finish here in just a little bit. Right now they're attempting to get the Underdog hooked up here. All right, got him lit off there. So we'll be underway here in just a minute. Be the last hook of the night. Coming in out of Mulberry, Tennessee. Again, this is Brad Farrell. He was our first hook tonight. They did reset the sled, so he dropped to come back. We restarted the class. 298.24 for Brad Farrell on that underdog. We'll have you order a finish here. And again, y'all be careful going home, but come on back tomorrow night. We'll have the results here on these last two classes in just a second.
For your limited pro stock class tonight, fourth place, 337.25, going to Michael Fanning with Bad Habit from Estill Springs, Tennessee. Third place, 338.73, headed to Morrison, Tennessee, Nathan Brown with Double Vision. Second place, 340.10, right here in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee, Kobe Counts on the Dixie Deer. And first place tonight, 340.56, going to Dustin Whitaker, Precision Pro from Woodville, Alabama. Thank you guys so much for coming out tonight. Don't forget, we'll be right back here tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. for the second night of the Rumble at the Crossroads.
All right, over here on track number 3, here's your order of finish in the mini rods. Fourth place going to Burning Money, Jimmy Cook, 317.01. Third place going to Scrap Iron, David Sneed, 321.24. Second place going to Doc Nick Hayes out of Estill Springs, 330.90. And your winner, Freak on a Leash, Dusty Alford, Macomb, Mississippi, 332.02.